Okay, in this final video about chord functions, 1s and 5 chords and things, we're going to show you how you can think about songs differently than just their chords, because we can think of their numbers, how you can change that to other keys and use other scales, and kind of wrap it up. So you might have heard this song, it's the Havana song. Havana, ooh, na, na. Half of my heart is in Havana, ooh, na, na. He took me back to East Atlanta, ooh, na, na. And so on, right? It's a 3-chord song. It's a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord in the key of G minor. So when you go to YouTube and you look up tutorial on this, somebody's just going to teach you that you play G minor, then you play C minor, and then you play D or D7. Actually, I think there are some that teach you that it's an E flat chord instead of there, but this is common, and so we'll just go with that, see you find there. But what they don't tell you is that you're in the key of G minor. And you can think of it like that's my 1 chord, G, B flat, D, comes from the scale. Tells you we're in a minor scale as opposed to a major scale, which would have a B. The 4 chord is C minor, again, instead of C major, because we're in a minor scale. And then the 5 chord, remember that without alteration, it would be a D, F, A, which would be minor. And because of sonic reasons, right, we have made an F sharp to pull us, right, to there when we make our 5 chord, because its job is to pull us to the 1 chord or to the 1 note. And that's why we have a D major or D7 chord. And that's it. So you can think of it like that. But after that, you can say, well, I could do this in any key that I could think of. Let's see. Let's try it out in the key of A minor. Let's try it out in the key of D minor. Let's try it out in the key of C minor. What other minor things do we have the 1, 4, and 5 for? Maybe E minor. That seems like pretty good to start with. So if I'm in the key of A minor, then my 1 chord is A minor, right? Now I want you to think about up the scale what 4 would be. 4 would be D minor, yeah? 5 would be, do we know a 5 chord in BE? Yeah, we know E7, okay? We learned all that from Sway. If I was in D minor is my 1, right? My 4 is G minor, and my 5 would be A7 or just A, right? Either one will work. C minor, 1 will be C minor. My 4 will be F minor, and my 5 will be G7. E minor is going to be an E minor for my 1. My 4 will be, count up your scale, E, F sharp, G, A minor. And my 5 is going to be B7, all these chords we have learned recently. Now they will sound higher or lower on the instrument, and your singing voice originally was G. Havana, ooh, na, na, right? So if we go to, so it starts on the G here, so it's going to start on the A here, so we go, so A minor, D minor, E7. Havana, ooh, na, na. Right? Now if we go to D minor, it'll be D minor. Right? So 1, 4, and it would be a lot lower. Havana, ooh, na, na. Or really high. Havana, ooh, na, na. Right? Key of C minor. There's my C minor chord, F, right, and there. So it'd be like, Havana, ooh, na, na. Half of my heart is in Havana, ooh, na, na. And E minor, it's There, I think. Let me think. Havana, ooh, na, na. Like that. So you can think of songs differently now than just what chord is it, and remember that. You can go to whatever key that's good for you to play in or good to sing in and adapt songs to there, or you can have one verse be in one key and then switch it to the next key. We'll also start to see patterns emerging. You'll find that it's not just chords, but that songs like to have a 1 chord and then something else and then something else and then a 5 chord, or like in this case 1 4 5, right? And to start thinking about that instead of specific chord names, then you can start to craft formulas that work for you. How do we start songwriting? Well, I think we look at this and we looked at what we learned about function, which is that songs love their 1 chords and their 5 chords, right? So 1 and 5. So it'll be minor in the minor key, and this will be major or dominant, right? That this will be major in the major keys, and this will be major or dominant, right? So this is my minor keys, this is my major keys. And, home, away, bringing it back home. Let's give an honorable mention to our 6th chord as well. 6 is we call it the deceptive progression when it goes to 6 instead of 1. It's the oops, I made you look. We're going 5 to 1, and that's normal. But then it says, I made you think we're going to 1, but we went there instead. We see that in Falling in Love, where it goes, but I can't. That's 4, 5. We're expecting a 1 chord, but it goes 6. Help. And then it goes 4. Falling in 5 7, 1 chord 5 7 with you, like that. Okay, but start by making a 4-measure phrase. In fact, just like the Havana song, that's 4 measures but 3 chords, right? A lot of songs these days, pop songs, are just made up of repeating the same 4 measures over and over again. Often it's 2 chords, the 1 and the 5. Sometimes it's 3 chords, like we did 1, 4, and 5 for a long time on the 5 there. And sometimes it's 1 chord per measure. So start experimenting with that, knowing that probably one of them is going to be a 1 and one of them is going to be a 5. Maybe not in that order. And they probably at the beginnings and ends, but they might be slightly inside the phrase as well. The nice thing about music is you can just try stuff out, right? If you were a music major, we would spend a lot of time going into pieces of pop music, jazz music, classical repertoire, and repertoire from what we call the classical tradition, but they have other names from different periods of times, and seeing what they did there, and building a sort of a database of formulas that work. You can do that too. Take apart your favorite pop song, go onto YouTube, get a tutorial on what the chords are, and then start looking for the dominant chord, because that will tell you what your 1 chord is, and then you can categorize the other things. I've already had one student say, I was messing around and I did this and this and this and this, and it sounds good and I don't know why, and said, well, here's your 5 chord and here's your 1 chord. Well, actually, it wasn't a 5 chord, it was a 7, but it was doing the job of a 5. And he had a great progression. It was good. So you can do the same.